Hi, this is Eddie Deezen. You're listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall. I was Mandark in Dexter's laboratory. Ha 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 ha.
You are listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall on Realm of the Mist Entertainment.
Oh, where'd it go?
Where'd what go?
Okay, there you go.
I'm still here.
Yes, what an introduction.
Hey, what's up, guys? Christopher Stolle here for another Breaking the Fourth Wall. This is why I don't do them live. Welcome to another edition of Breaking the Fourth Wall. I just got done doing a really, really great interview yet last night. You guys can find it on YouTube and all that now. And it's thanks very much in part to the young lady who I have sitting before me today. She has been in the industry for only about 5 years now, but has already made a name with her for herself through contacts, through publicists, being an agent, so many other things, just handing a lot of pies. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Stacey Toy. Stacey,
I'm great. I love handing a lot of pies. I haven't heard that before. That's a good one.
These are the ones I enjoy the most. Like,
I love it.
I've done some great interviews with some higher end celebrities, and I can name drop, like Jack O'Halloran and Scotty Schwartz, and those
I love Scotty. He is the man.
Really,
Scotty's the man.
Scotty was another one who kept me on for about 3 hours, and never got bored with the conversation. But as great as those are, the ones I love are the ones that they have so many different things that they do. Or, for personal preference, like everybody knows Scotty, everybody knows Jack, but I like introducing the ones that nobody knows and really discovering, in a sense. And I don't mean discovering their careers, but discovering who they are behind their careers.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So I'm excited here. And of course, the first question I've got to ask is, what made you move into this field? What made you decide you wanted to?
I fell into it. So I was in the broadcasting industry. I was directing America's highest rated local newscast in the country. I worked at the Olympics and whatnot. And then the automation systems came in. So I learned a little bit about them when I was working at 2012 in London. And then in 2014, I was actually chosen as one of 3 people by the inventor and the director of engineering from the corporate, and I helped to perfect the automation systems and troubleshoot them, for over 50 stations. So I perfected my replacement, and I'm like, okay, come on, the writing's on the wall. So I was widowed. I was very newly widowed, and I had 2 small children, and I quit my full-time comfy job as, the full financial provider, and said, this is my one shot. At least if I failed, I have no problem going and working at McDonald's. I don't care if I went to Oxford and all that. It doesn't matter. Like, I am going to try, but I'm, going to give it my all. And so I actually, I was on 100 Acres of Hell's first set. I got hired as a PR person, and I started asking questions, and those questions led to somebody being let go. And then, they're like, would you be the production manager and be in charge of, the production? And I'm like, you guys know, I just got, I've only been on the set. And they're like, no, come on. So I had an opportunity, and I bought Filmmaking for Dummies, and now it's streaming on Amazon and all these platforms. And I'm sitting here with you. So, and my business partner, Mark Denenbaum at 258 Studios, he's like, you're a producer. And I'm like, no, I'm not, because I worked in news, and news producing is different than film. So once he finally, showed me, I'm like, holy crap, I am a producer, and it's just like, it was a natural thing, but I just didn't know. So we're good friends, and, people who believe in you. I would never have, been here if it wasn't for all the people like my business partner, Mark Denenbaum, and Ernie O'Donnell. And I mean, there was just so many people that it's like, Ernie taught me how to curse as a kid in the basement of my friend's house when we snuck Clerks,
Nice.
But he believed, to have those people like see something in you that you don't even see in yourself at that time, that's a gift, and I'm truly grateful to all of them for putting up with me and and honing me. It's like herding cats, you know.
You brought me to a point that I was gonna touch on later. Was your association with the U.S. universe, with Ernie O'Donnell? I know you know Marilyn Gigliani and Brian O'Halloran, and of course the Clerks crew. Obviously, that also includes Jeffrey Anderson, Kevin Smith, Jason Mewes. The people.
Comic book man.
Comic book men. Obviously, the Jersey crew.
Mhm.
With that in mind, when you started breaking into the business, how easy or hard was it to not call up those old contacts and say, "Hey, could you give me a foot in the door," or whatever else? Like, and how they reacted now that you've broken in?
Honestly, I grew up on a farm. I had nothing my whole life. I mean, not nothing. My parents worked very hard, but they worked in a factory, and my dad got hurt. So they couldn't afford, like, I couldn't just go to spring break or, do this. So my parents were like, if you want to do this stuff, you have to find a different way how to do it. So scholarships, clubs, just being involved. So I've always had to hustle and bust my ass. And then, 17 years ago, all of my behind the scenes that nobody knew drug stuff, like I was taking 70 to 100 Vicodin a day while at Oxford University, the number one school in the world, and I'm, on drugs, but they gave me energy and whatnot. So it was like I had everything ripped out from underneath me because it was pre-opioid crisis and nobody knew what to do when I asked for help. And so, the whole world basically, I was up here and then I just right flat on my back at rock bottom. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, but holy shit, I can't believe I made it. You know what I mean? So I've always had to, push myself. I've always had to work extra hard. It's nothing new to me. I'm totally okay with that. And failure, people call me dangerous now because they're like, you're not afraid to fail. I'm like, it's because I did it so much. So all of these little things that people are like, oh, you did it. No. It makes adversity will either make you or break you. And I just decided it's not going to break me.
Well, see, you jumped, you put the cart before the horse here on me here, because I was going to touch on the base that there was a dark side in your career, with the drug use and the drug addiction. How dependent were you, and what did it take? What was the catalyst really that brought you out of it? Like, what was the final straw that made you say, okay, I'm at the bottom and I need to.
Well, I ran out of pills. For 5 years, I was taking them because I had ovarian cyst real bad. But honestly, I was 2 weeks into my freshman year at college, away from home for the first time, and September 11th happened. And I was conveniently located 3 miles from 3 Mile Island, which was not in the brochure, So I got a potassium iodide pill that's in one of my scrapbooks because I kept that. And it solidified that I wanted to work in news, but it also was the first time I had anxiety and I didn't want to feel, so I was compensating. But my tolerance, I ended up taking a tolerance test, with my DNA and whatnot, because I'm like, come on, like I should have been dead, like a horse, But essentially the last week of Oxford during finals, I just ran out of pills and nobody could send them to me from the States. I couldn't get anything. And, when you're going to school at those old schools, their walls are super paper thin. And when you're going through withdrawal, your eyelashes hurt, you can shit and puke at the same time, So when I went to the bathroom and did the two things at the same time, and I came back and I had like a standing ovation from like 7 of my classmates, it was like I knew, but I didn't want to face it, that something the size of a pencil top eraser was running my life. And I was like, how did this happen? Like, it just is so fast. And then it's like, uh-oh,
Well, that was definitely going to be something that I've never had the misfortune of a drug addiction. However, I skirted alcoholism, and I tried to live the rock star lifestyle in my 20s, and I tried to do it on a McDonald's budget. That's probably what saved my ass. But I mean, I'm just thinking about it. It's like, were you consciously aware of it, or was it just something that like one day you were like, oh my God, I'm an addict?
No, you could consciously do it, but you don't want to face it because, you know, you don't have to right then. So I kind of almost, you know, backed myself into a corner, but I needed to. I was also very stubborn, so I needed to be, you know, thrown down, dragged through, like lose it all. I needed that because otherwise you wouldn't have got my attention.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you pulled it out. And I mean, like, was the catalyst that helped you along too the career or also the family? Like
Oh,
what?
my parents, for sure. Everybody hated me. The whole world, literally. I had everything, and they all, because a drug addict, you're a failure, you're this, you know. And it's funny because they always tell you rock bottom is where failures and you're, you know, all the bad people go. But, you know, when I got to the top, I realized that all the people at the top at least had dipped their toe in rock bottom at some point because at first it does grow, and all the people pointing their fingers they're still pointing their fingers. So if I would have listened to them, I would have just turned into them, you know?
Right.
And those people don't know. Rock bottom, it's where you make or break people. A lot of people die because it's hard. But the ones who do go on and continue, you know, their stories are incredible. And I mean, there are people who do a lot bigger and better things, you know, than I ever have, but it inspires me. And so you need to be the example just to show that's proof, you know, okay, it is possible. It's gonna suck, but it's possible, you know.
That's what I was thinking. As you were saying, I'm like, I never liked the idea that rock bottom is failure. I think people who stay in rock bottom are failures.
Correct.
But to me, I think I look at rock bottom as like the first step.
Yeah.
Up.
I don't care what you look at it as. I just everything is an opportunity and how you react and respond to it and how my father taught me that, you know, he was saying, you know, it's all how what you think. It's, you know, he would tell me stories about my great great grandparents or him and people saying, "Oh, you can't do that." And he's like, "That's why we're tenacious toys." And, you know, just, you know, there's a purpose for it. And, you know, there is. I mean, it's like, even like I said, even if you don't believe in God, it's still in the Bible. It says God chooses people to suffer so they in turn can help others who suffer. So, you know, I love saying that and then being like, well, how do you explain me then if that's true? You know, like I'm not trying to be the jackass, but like I'm gonna be the little bit of a jackass because, you know, how do you explain me then? Got so much to say.
I've got it. I used to say that all the time. What's the old phrase? God only gives you what he feels you can handle. Well, God must think I'm a badass.
Seriously. And sometimes I'm like, okay, now you're just showing off, like, you know. But, you know, I'm grateful for all these opportunities and stuff. And you know, after that, my husband ended up after he got home from the Navy, he ended up dying of an overdose, heroin overdose.
Oh.
And I found out the person who shot him up. And my husband, he had PTSD, and he had only done it about once or twice. But I messaged the guy, and he wrote me back, and I picked him up the next day at the halfway house. I took him to lunch, and I said, I will help you if you could become the husband to your two kids and or the husband to your wife and the father to your two kids that mine could no longer be. You know, I'll help you. And he's like, you're the one person who's supposed to hate me, and you're the only person willing to help me. And I'm like, yeah, because I've been there, and nobody helped me. Like I wanted to die when I was going through it, and I was like, and not even God wants me. But you know, when I promised myself, I said, if I ever get out of here, I'm not going to let anybody else go through it. And so he was shooting 50 bags a day plus, and he'd been in and out of prison. There was 4 of them altogether, including my husband. And right now, he's not only been clean for the last 9 years, he's got his family back, he's got a business, but he's the only one left. So I've proven that the only thing more powerful than drugs and addiction and all that is love and forgiveness. And I haven't even seen him in like 2 years, and it's sustained itself because, you know, people who go through a lot of adversity, and, you know, he had a hard time growing up and being tossed around. And, you know, it's like the one time someone actually has no reason to come in and to kind of encourage and help you. And I did. I helped, and I walked literally walked. I would pick him up from work sometimes. I mean, I didn't give him, money, and I didn't, but he would call me, and I would try to encourage him, and all that stuff. And the thing is he took from me, my husband's life, and I ended up giving him his, and I am so happy for him. I'm, if you can make something good come from something bad, how you respond, how you react to it. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but now, he's friends with everyone. I said, what's putting him in prison going to do? That's his second home. What is that going to do? So I was fully ready to walk in there and have him tell me to go fuck myself, because forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. But I was going to try. So this is how it ended up, though, and I'm so grateful. And he's a very good friend. He texts me out, every year and just reminds me and thanks me. And, that in and of itself, I mean, it just makes me feel good. And I know that my husband would, be happy to hear that. It's like honoring him by helping, that guy. So.
No, good. And that's something I think definitely needs to be commended. Personally, like on a personal note, I'm a person who I've always lived by the phrase, like, I don't forgive and I never forget.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not the right way to live, but I am a person who holds grudges.
That's okay.
And, to hear, I like as much as I'm a grudge holder, I like hearing stories like that, where not necessarily like the bad thing that happened to you, I like hearing, but that you turned it into a positive, that you wound up helping somebody else out, that you gave forgiveness to somebody that most others would not, like I certainly wouldn't.
Yeah, but that's what I love to do. I love doing the opposite of what everyone normally does, because then when you do it, smartly, of course, like, I don't go to third world countries unless I have like security and actual, like, I'm not going to be sex trafficked, but, sometimes you just got to show people that there's nothing to be afraid of, or just own it, man. Everyone is so ashamed and afraid. And like, I'm just like, this is me, because it makes my story even better, of the comeback story. You got to have a setback before you have a comeback. Basic rules in football, basic rules in life,
Absolutely true. And it's kind of funny you said football. I was eating dinner before this interview, and Jeopardy was on, and the one of the categories was football phrases. And these three people that are on the panel, they're smart as hell. They're naming things off of different things that I couldn't even fathom to figure out. They got to the football section. It was the last section left in that round. They didn't answer one question.
O or D. That's all I know. O or D, right? No, that's funny.
Yeah,
But it's typical, because, a lot of those smart people just spend a lot of time studying, and that's cool, man. Like, I was a cheerleader and I was the captain, but we never won football or basketball. Sorry, no offense. But so I just did spirit cheers for 4 years. So I don't know how it works either.
But it was funny to me that you mentioned it right after hearing that while I was eating a cheesesteak. Yes, I'm from Philly.
Woohoo! Well, actually, I was dubbed by the Academy Award winning producer Robert May. I mean, Queen of Serendipity. I mean, people tell me that all the time, so I'm not surprised, but I love it.
So, all right. So we turned a negative into a positive. You got yourself clean. You got yourself on track. You finished out college and jumped into the broadcasting community, starting off, like you said, with the news. And what really progressed the transition from news broadcasting to film, theater, television?
Yeah, well, like I said, with the automation system, the control rooms were going from 2 people down to 12, or 12 people down to 2, all across. I mean, I saw it, and I helped, a little bit to do it over in Europe for the Olympics at the major networks. So in 2014, when it came, my thing is learn how it works, because then they'll need you. I learned how it worked, and then they picked me and 2 other people, and we went and did all of these other stations to troubleshoot them. And you got to be smart and look ahead. My mom, she worked in a factory, and my dad got hurt. So I had always, like, grown up, the woman would work, and that was, you always were there to help your husband. And when he got hurt, but then RCA moved to Mexico, the plant went to Mexico. So my mom started college the same year I started college because of the NAFTA program. And, it's like I didn't want to have to do that. I didn't have to ever have to want to worry, but my parents instilled they gave me all the opportunities that they didn't have. And I made sure I took advantage of them. I mean, granted, I had a great time too, but I mean, now it's fun to look back because I live to tell about it, but it's like, wow, if I ever did half the shit that I did, I'd be dead. Like, if I ever did one line of coke, I think I'd just be dead. Like I'm done with that stuff. Y'all can have it. I just don't eat carbs now, so I can stay skinny. Safer.
Like I told you, I skirted alcoholism, and the catalyst for me to stop is becoming a father.
Yeah,
really,
being a mom is nuts, man. A parent, it changes your life. But also, I get 4-day hangovers, so like it was never my thing.
I replaced one addiction for another. Coffee.
Nah,
Coffee's my
that's
addiction.
okay. That's okay. It's okay by me.
So yeah, now you've transitioned over, and as you stated, you've got an ongoing show right now that's on the streaming services. Again, it was
100 Acres of Hell.
100 Acres of Hell. Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about that one?
Sure. It stars WWE superstar Gene Snitsky and Clark's Ernie O'Donnell. And it also has Samu Anawahi and Afa Anawahi Jr., who played the bad guy. And he's I hate even saying it, inbred mutant who's trying to hunt and kill these guys who came to go have a guys' weekend on this like hunting preserve. And here's a funny story. When I was growing up, my father said that people weren't going to come and knock on my door here in rural Pocono Mountains, so I had to go out and get it. So we filmed about almost half of the 100 Acres of Hell on my property. So I had the whole team here, and we filmed it. And so it was like I didn't just get them to knock on my door; like the whole team came. So it was a proud moment, I think, for my parents to sit down and watch this horror film, and it was on Amazon, and just to see it happen, because a lot of people don't get to this side of things, but I owed it to my parents because they believed in me when everyone else didn't. And that was hard. And I know that they were embarrassed and, had to hold back on, I don't blame them. But, at this point in time, I own it all. And my parents, they've talked to other parents that their kids were going through it because now they understand. It's like there's, a purpose, and they can encourage others. So, it's cool to be able to teach your parents something too, even in this whole process. But, all you need is one person to believe in you. And I saw that. And so that's why I did it, to that other guy. So nothing's impossible.
Well, that's the thing. And like I said, like going through your filmography, you've been involved with What's a Podcast, Comic Book Men, London 2012. This is just going off the top of my head here. And I mean, it goes back pretty far, 100 Acres of Hell, which all of which, successful in its own right. Like again, Hulu with 100 Acres of Hell, and Comic Book Men, I know was a successful series for a long time. Those are two right off the top of my head. Yet, how were you able to maintain anonymity, for lack of a better term, being connected to the project?
Well, it's not about being known and all that. It was when I was growing up, and everybody you want attention, you want that. But then you just realize that if you just be who you are, and if you just stay positive and you focus, because I don't get jealous about anybody else. I'm genuinely happy for all of my friends and all of the people who get success in their own right, because I'm focused on what I want to do, and you're focused on what you want to do. And when you support everybody, every time I make a phone call and go, hey, can you do this for me? Or could you do that? Yes. And I do the same, within reason, of course. But it's weird because people believe in you. And most of the time and they all know my story. I make it very, clear from the start, just because I don't want anybody to find anything else out and have to come to me. You hear from my mouth. I was this, that, I was the worst.
Right.
So I'm not ashamed of any of that stuff because I'm over here now, and I own it and I'm proud of it. And when I go and talk, I always emphasize being proud of your failures. Parents look at me like I'm nuts, but the kids are like, oh, thank God, finally somebody, because everyone's like, succeed, succeed. You can succeed after, if you fail, if you don't, whatever, but just, learn and just help each other. Like I said, all boats rise with the tide, and a lot of people don't, believe that or whatever. And I've gotten screwed, sure, like out of, business and whatnot, but that's okay. They all come back at some point because, it's just, you're a good person, man. It just keeps going good. That's it.
Well, you bring up a very good point with your outlook and living, for lack of a better term here, and I apologize. I know it's Pride Month, so some listeners, I don't mean to steal your thunder here, but I do know that living out, as they usually say it, is not an easy thing. Was that something you did straight from gate from your addiction battle that you lived? Was that
No, I eased into it. But then in 2017, I was chosen as Northeast Woman, and there was like a huge 3-piece color spread in the Sunday newspaper. And I put it all out there. And I remember my mom saying, I wish you didn't say the cocaine. And I said, listen, I've gone so far. Okay. Like, I'm owning everything because I have nothing to hide anymore. Like, and I'm sorry that you're offended by that, but I'm still here, like you were there when I buried my husband. It was the same age. We were 28, how many of my friends have you gone? We buried. If that's what, like, that should be the least of your worries, because I don't do it anymore. And I'm actually here and they're honoring me for it. So come on, be happy for me here,
That was something I was definitely going to ask is, besides your parents, obviously your children too. I don't know how old they are.
Yeah. They're going to be 16 and 14. So they're like teenage, fun.
That time. But like they see mom living out in the open and not only speaking her truth of what's going on, but has gone on in her life, but is actually helping others and inspiring others with the story, people who battle with the addictions. No matter, I assume it's not just people who have opiate or cocaine.
No.
Obviously,
it's everybody.
Alcoholics, heroin addicts,
even just depression and anxiety,
pot smoke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have all heard your story and turned around because of it. Does that change their point of view? Like you're saying, like mom was like, "Oh, why are you talking about the cocaine?" But now it would be more like, I'm proud you did.
I'm very open. My kids were 6 and 4 when their dad died too, and I've been very open about that. And it's funny because my husband died in November of 2011, and the Olympics were the next summer in 2012. And I was a little hesitant because I knew that terrorists went to school at Oxford and Cambridge, and they didn't need to get on a plane, just walk down the street, and so I almost didn't go. And my oldest son said, all my friends' moms said they could have done this and they could have done that. And I want to say that my mom did do that. And I'm like, holy shit, kid, like both my sons, Gavin and Dylan, they actually inspire me because they actually like listened to me. And I hear them on the phone and they're like helping their friends, and they like, they're not afraid to stand up for people. And it's the coolest thing because they're 10,000 times better human beings than I ever was. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? You know what I mean? Like, but just being honest and not, it's not just like, oh, is your hair, like explaining to them. And they're friends with that guy's children now. So it's awesome. And they even said, I'm glad that you didn't take their dad away from them. And I'm like, because you don't have to. Like, it's not all about, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves the world with a bunch of toothless blind people. So
that's a smart saying right there. That's actually a smart saying right there. No, that's absolutely awesome. But again, for the career here, what's next with everything you've done and everything you've gone through? What's next in the world of Stacey Toy? Like, what do we do moving forward?
Well, I am currently working on a documentary with a Grammy-nominated artist. His name's Clarence Spady. He's been dubbed the future of blues. He's played with everyone from B.B. King to Eric Clapton, opened for the Temptations, Supremes. Amazing. He's had, 35, 40-year drug addiction. He lost his son last year to an overdose. And for the last few months, he's been clean, and we've been doing his documentary. But, he's in his late 50s and I'm 36. And it is so amazing because I get to help him to see, a lot of different stuff in his journey, and it keeps him positive. And then together we just like, it's like we're the degenerates, and yet it's weird because, like I said, God only uses broken people, because if he didn't, it's just so. I don't know. It's just insane to see all that, but I'm wanting that. But to be honest with you, I've done everything that I have ever wanted to do, like, because I wanted to work in news, and all this stuff's extra. And I'm just kind of open to seeing and capturing something that comes, or, if nothing else, things tend to come to you. With all the people, everybody likes to be like, hey, I want to work with you. These people. Hey, come on, you're fun, you're positive. You get things done. People will call. They always call, and even if they don't, I'm going to still be okay, because, I always have and I always will. So we'll figure it out.
with the story you told me about the drug use, the addiction, and then obviously the success story of beating the monkey, and not spanking the monkey. It's the completely different story.
I'm not that kind of girl.
beating the monkey and inspiring and helping others. Like, these are things you hear obviously in a documentary. These are things you hear in an autobiography. But if I could throw a suggestion, just a suggestion,
yeah,
that you could do and reach a lot of people, I could see a self-help podcast.
Well, I consider it for sure. The other thing I'm doing is I always kept a journal. I hand wrote a journal, so I'm going to release the journal as a book. I'm already putting it together with my, updated, like, things, because I think it's important to see the change in my handwriting, seeing just like, I have anxiety. Like, if I'm going to help anybody, I got to be on the same level, because I remember at 3 a.m. being like, I have nothing. I want to be that something at 3 a.m. that's like, okay, well, at least I can make it to the next day. And at least maybe I could start thinking a little different, because you got to lie to yourself, being like, I'm going to succeed since I can't die, And it's funny because I go back and read all of it now, and it's like it all manifested and came true. And I didn't even know, but you still, like, I'm going to do the process. And absolutely, I'm all for the podcast stuff. I think that guy would be better off at doing stuff, because he has a purpose, like, and to be able to talk. Because as much as I, love talking about this stuff and I'm open to it, it's not what defines me, and like, I want to tell it, and then, it's there, and then keep going, because it's not me, but I understand that you have to hear the example and see proof. So I'll do it, and then I'm gonna go do other stuff that's fun,
No, absolutely, I get that. Like I said, it was just an idea, but
no, I'm down for it too. So we can talk about this, as things progress, and maybe you can help me out then.
absolutely, it wouldn't be the first time I've helped somebody out.
Mm-hmm.
Just do me a favor. If I do, don't forget me when you're big.
It's on video right now. Okay. It's on video. I never forget other people, because, that's also part of it. Don't be an asshole. It's rule number 1.
Well, Stacey, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. But the big thing I got to do now is I got to have you. There's going to be listeners that want to know more, or maybe have questions of their own besides what they would leave in the comment sections down below the YouTube, or wherever quality podcasts come up. And so I've got to know, where can people reach you if they wanted to get in contact with you?
Sure. First disclaimer, if you send me dick pics, I'm going to put them with the other ones, and I'm going to put out a newsletter showing everybody everything. So don't send me any kind of that kind of stuff. But I'm on.
She's not lying about that either. I'm the first 2 pages.
Well, maybe you'll get some residuals. Who knows? So I'm on LinkedIn at Stacey. So STACEY TOY. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook on that. Instagram, I'm at Stacey Toy. I'm also at 258 Studios is my company. 258 Studios on Facebook, and then on the website, the number 258studios.com. And yeah, we're there. And feel free to reach out if I will get back to people, but just because of the COVID stuff and everything, like, we're starting to slowly get back into things. So please don't be offended. And don't do the, can you get me this person? Can you give me $1 million? Come on now. Like, I mean, we all know that doesn't work. So if you're going to waste my time, that's okay too. But I mean, my last name's Toy. So just know I can fuck back, fuck what you back. So.
Lying either. Like contact her. I mean, she. I won't even mince words. I'm setting up to talk to one of her actors / ex-professional wrestler for one of my podcasts. I just got done interviewing one of her best friends, and now I've got her on the show. I didn't ask for any one of them. She offered them to me. So I mean, you don't.
All boats rise with the tide, man.
You don't, if you're a podcaster or you're an interviewer or if you're somebody wanting to get into business, you don't have to heckle her to do it. If she likes you, she'll do it for you.
Yeah, just be good to me. I've never even seen you before until just now, All you have to do, if you're good to me, I'm good to you. And if you're not good to me, that's okay. I'll forgive you, but I don't forget.
See, she forgives, I don't. No, guys, as far as my listeners are concerned, I try to give a good show, a cool show, treat my guests with respect. And I ask that of my listeners to my guests as well. So again, guys, Stacey, thank you very much. If you enjoyed this episode in any capacity, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other great podcasts of Realm of Miss Entertainment. And of course, if you prefer your podcast in audio only format, we got you covered. Check out Realm of Miss Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Pandora. You could probably find us on a bathroom wall somewhere, just wherever. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please come back on again anytime.
Anytime you want me, man. It'll be cool. I enjoy it very much.
And you guys, I will catch you on the next Breaking the Fourth Wall.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, it's Chris from Realm of the Mist Entertainment. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other great podcasts that can be found on Realm of the Mist Entertainment's YouTube channel or our sister channel, Sounds Dicey Gaming, for all your tabletop needs. And if you prefer your podcast in audio-only format, check out Realm of the Mist Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever quality podcasts can be heard. To our Patreon supporters, we thank you very, very much. And if you're interested in being a Patreon supporter, please go over to patreon.com/Realm of the Mist, and just $1 a month gives you exclusive content and helps our channel out greatly. Guys, again, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode.